Now the other thing to note is braking is pretty much... Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 Ford F-150 Tremor with the 401A package. So this is a little bit more affordable than the last Tremor we reviewed. With all that being said, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Schmiller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with the Tremor. Check out the inventory link below. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy 16 around town and then 20 on the highway, with power outputs being 400 horsepower and then 500 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go to the front end of this particular Tremor. So just like the more loaded up Tremor, we've got the venting here on the hood. Coming down below, we've got the LED lights with the LED reflector lights, and then notice we've got the gold accenting, and then we've got the Ford logo there in the center with the camera right down below. Parking sensors along the front with the fog lights. Tow hooks that are in the same coloration as the accenting at the top, and we've got the exposed skid plate, and that's part of this Tremor package is you do get skid plates just like the Raptor. Nice off-road protection, and wait for it. Other than that, that is the front end. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped on 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then part of the Tremor package is there is a slight lift, and then they also add monotube shocks to make it so that it can handle off-road situations a little bit better. And then you guys can see just how aggressive these all-terrain tires are. Again, another part of the package. Got our F-150 Tremor kind of like badge here on the side. And then notice here with the mirrors, they're just blacked out. Got the camera on the side. Off-road side steps down that portion of the side. And then we got the Tremor logo here in the back. Still have the standard leaf springs here with the F-150. And, well, other than that, let me give you guys a full side view here on this particular Tremor. And you guys can really see here with the back end just how high that is compared to the front. Now popping into the back, first off, the payload capacity is 1,681 pounds, and notice we've got the little measuring tables here in the rear. LED lights, we've got the full outlet, we've got the LED lights here at the top with the cargo camera, and we've got Ford's bed step as well, and then we'll see if it does the raise up like it did the drop down. Nope, so it just does the drop down, doesn't lift back up for you, but well, that's all for that. Now let's finish things here in the rear. So notice that we've just have the standard F-150 taillights, got the Tremor logo with the dual outlet exhaust tips, recovery hooks, got the receiver hitch down here with parking sensors. And by the way, we are going to be doing a towing test video, so watch out for that. I'm not sure if I'll post that one first or this video first. We'll see what happens, but we're going to tow that trailer right there with that, so it'll be pretty fun. But anyways, that's all for that. Now here's the door panel in the rear, so notice again we've got all of the really nice material at the top of the stitching, and then down below on the armrest, dark gray metallic trim. Then you guys can see the trim right there, speaker for the sound system. And then here are the seats, we got the cloth mixed with the leather and then the stitching, all that fun stuff. You can see the storage underneath, got the floor mats right here. And then you guys can see we've got all the kind of charging outlets right there with the cup holders for the rear passengers, and then that, no cup holders pulled down from the center though, so yeah, but so yeah. Now looking at the door panel here in the front, again, you guys can see the material use all over, and the dark gray metallic trim again. We've got the window controls again. That trim looks great. With the door lock and unlock, again, no speaker for the sound system. Off-road side steps. And then here are the seats. You guys can see the Tremor logo. Then you got the adjustments on the side of the seat. Pedals down below. We've got the pedal adjustment, parking brake, light control, lights outside either side. The tailgate drop down. Steering wheel is manually adjustable. And then look at this with the dark gray and then the kind of bronze gold trim. And yeah, those are my look before we pop in. So here's our steering wheel in the Tremor. We got the nice leather trim around the steering wheel with the stitching, and then notice the nice metallic trim down here with the darkened Ford logo. We've got our controls for the center stack. We've got our adaptive cruise control voice command controls, turn signal, windshield wiper stalk, and that's all. Now here's the center gauge clutch. You guys can see you've got the analog gauges on either side, and then we do have that screen there in the center. So this is a big difference between this and like the loaded up Tremor is the actual screen, just kind of how the overall layout looks. And then we've got a bunch of different drive modes. We've got our normal, we've got our slippery, deep snow and sand, mud and ruts, and then we've got our rock crawl mode as well, and similar animations to like what you get in a Escape, for example, or actually Explorer is a better example. But anyways, You guys can see the rest of the drive modes right there, and yeah, that's all for that. We've got our auto stops right here. This is for the camera and the parking sensors. That's for the hazard light stability control. And then we've got that for off-road cruise control. And we'll start with the camera system. Notice we've got the bird's eye view, and we can go through the different points right there, which is great. And then as for the rest of the camera system, I mean, you literally can see out of every single angle with this truck. It is absolutely fantastic. So from a camera perspective, it's great. And then even with the receiver hitch and then that whole setup. So yeah, really solid from a camera system perspective. And then we'll just press the camera button and that'll pop it off. Here's the rest of that gigantic display. You guys can see response time on the display is great. I've gone over this several times. I'll go over the key features. So we've got the trail turn assist, and then this is kind of annoying to use sometimes, but you press the button, basically drag it a little bit, and then yeah, it pops the screen over. And we've got this pages button over here, which notice you've got the different menus you can scroll through. So that's great. And that's all for that. The Pro Trailer Assist with the trailer brake controls, and then notice we got our 2-wheel high, 4-wheel low, and then our drive mode select with our axle lock. Volume controls, we've got our dual zone climate with the heated seats, and then we've got the little charging ports right here. There's no covering over this, but notice we've got some extra storage space, phone holder, a couple of USBs. Got the shifter that does fold down. This one just has the standard console, if you guys are wondering. Got the manual shift mode. Couple cup holders right there, and then opening up the center console, you can see the storage space. Got the dual glove box, pretty nice with that. You can see the trim on the outside, and then here at the top of the dash, all that fun stuff. And well, yeah. So we've got the auxiliary switches here at the top, which are always, well, a fun time, I suppose. And then you've got the power sliding window, no center for anything like that, all black headliner, and that's all. So here's our window sticker with the Tremor. You guys can see again 2021 Tremor Oxford white, and then you guys can see the interior right there. But feel free to freeze frame if you want to read all the standard equipment right down here. And then we've got our optional equipment right here. You can see that 401A, $6,000, and then the rest of the options. You guys can see the base price $49,000, and then you can see after that destination everything were $60,820. Wait for it. Wait a little bit longer. Let's take it out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility here in the Tremor before we set off. You guys can see visibility over the hood. Both mirrors do blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. I'll start things off here in the Tremor by, well, getting an acceleration. Man, that 3.5 always does such a good job, especially at this high elevation. It's just so much torque, it's so punchy, but we're gonna pop it back into the normal mode here. And let's talk about how the Tremor drives, especially compared to a regular F-150, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, does this really drive any differently compared to a regular F-150? And the answer is slightly, but it's not a huge difference on road. Off-road, you're really gonna get the benefits from those monotube shocks, and obviously the extra ground clearance and travel that this has. I believe it's got like 1.5 inches of travel extra in the rear, and then like 1 in the front, somewhere around there roughly. So it's not a huge difference, but it is different, right? And the all-terrain tires will do a really good job as well. But on road, basically what you notice is pretty minimal on the tire noise side of things. Rides pretty smooth, but again, it really doesn't feel all that different compared to regular F-150, so you don't really give up anything. But I guess on the flip side, you don't really get anything extra from a ride quality perspective. The other thing to note is braking is pretty much the same, which is kind of expected because, well, this truck weighs the same, so nothing is different there. But yeah, I mean, it's just like a regular F-150, but it looks a lot cooler, and obviously having that added off-road capability is definitely a huge plus between, again, the lock on the rear and the tires and all that stuff. And so to make this video, I guess, a little bit more on the short side, let's kind of sum things up here with the Tremor package. So first off, I think it's a really good package from an exterior aesthetics perspective. I think it's great. Interior wise, this 401A package I think is great. These leather trim seats with the cloth inserts, really cool. It seems like they're kind of trying to copy Ram a little bit, right? Because that's what Ram has done with the Rebel for their entry-level package, is you have like the vinyl seats with the cloth in the center, and this is pretty much doing the same thing, which I don't think it's a bad thing to do. Like, these seats are great. So yeah, I think the interior looks great as well, even in this 401A package. The 402A definitely looks nicer, but I mean, it's quite a bit more expensive, so it is what it is. Now, aside from that, from a driving perspective, on road, both trucks pretty much drive the same, so there's not really any difference there. But obviously this has the added off-road capability, so that's where you really get the benefits. So I guess what I'll say is, I guess if you want a really cool looking on-road truck, then yeah, the Tremor will do great. But if you're actually going to do off-roading, then the Tremor will do even better for you. If you're not going to do any off-roading, on the other hand, and you don't really care about the looks, then the Tremor package isn't necessarily worth it. Obviously the all-terrain tires and everything will do great in the winter time. That being said though, you could just get a regular F-150 and do all-terrain tires. So I'm all for the Tremor. Just depends on what you're going to use it for, if the extra cost is worth it. If you're going to do some off-roading, camping, all that stuff, definitely worth it. If you're not, probably not. Probably just get a regular F-150 and just do some more aggressive tires, really.